Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Season Ticket Holders. I'm your host, Dane Lillingston, and it is Fight Week, baby, and we have a favourite UFC MMA expert returning. He's a videographer extraordinaire, cameraman, Northern Beaches boy, kickboxer, and future Manly Muay Thai champion. He's fresh off training. We had to pull him away. Tom Hayfield, welcome back to the show, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm still sweating, Dane. I'm still sweating. And after an intro like that, mate, I appreciate it. It is good to be back. It's been a little while. You've been doing some footy podcasts. I've been loving them, mate. You're a man of all trades. You're a jack of all trades. It's impressive. And yeah, thanks for having me back. I'm very excited.
Anytime, mate. Good segue. Speaking of Jack, we're obviously here to talk about Jack Della Maddalena, back UFC fight night against Carlos Prates. That is going to be on Saturday night. Finally, a normal time card for fans out there. We also obviously saw a fight night last weekend. Aljamain Sterling with a back-to-back win decision over Yusuf Salal. Wasn't too much of an exciting card. I think there was only 2 finishes on that one from what I saw. But Tommy, let's just get straight into the big one because I guess it maybe slipped under the radar a tiny little bit. We all know JDM, of course, going down to Islam Makhachev in that really dominant, tough to watch title fight when he lost his belt. Now he gets his chance to reclaim that mantle, but he is coming up against a bit of a killer in the smoker, Prates. What's your initial feelings? How are you feeling ahead of this fight?
I don't know about you, Dane, but I've had this one circled in the calendar for months. This is it's a fight night card, but I tell you what, I've been pumped for this one for quite some time. It's JDM in his hometown in Perth versus a seriously dangerous opponent in Carlos Prates, who is just on a rip and tear, man. He's an exciting fighter to watch, and this could be fireworks. There's 2 guys that are top contenders fighting it out for potentially, that number 1, number 2 spot and contention. So yeah, remember last time JDM, we watched him, he was versing Islam Makhachev. We were together at the Sporting Globe. We were a couple of pints deep. We were all excited, and gee, that was hard to watch. So this is his bounce back fight in his hometown. If this isn't a gift from the UFC, let's go.
Yeah, that was back in November, mate. We did get to watch it together. Unfortunately, it was just about the worst 5-round title fight you're going to watch. We all know the GOAT status that Islam is on, so not a complete surprise. JDM was obviously on a tear. He was long touted as a champion, and we saw that against Bilal to win the title. That was now back in May. And before that, he'd fought in March 2024 against Gilbert Burns, that performance of the night performance. So now 18 and 3, his record is bouncing back. What about 5 months out? I saw some quotes of him earlier today. It said it was a dream of him to headline in Perth. That's where he's from. So I thought that was special. It was an interesting thing I saw. There's tickets still available, which are a bit surprising, right?
Wow. Are they crazy expensive or?
So I had a look, and the highest was $471. The cheapest was $268, and all of the ringside best seats were sold. But I thought that was a little bit crazy because if you actually look on the map on Ticketek or Ticketmaster, whatever it was, there's big chunks of it that still aren't covered, which is pretty weird, right? I'm pretty sure RAC Arena is a similar size to Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney, but a bit shocking considering the talent of Aussie fighters on this one, right?
That's bizarre because the Sydney card was a lot more expensive, as you and I know, but that's crazy because it's at their time zone. This is Saturday night. I think the main card starts at 7 p.m. local time in Perth. So it's not as if it's in the middle of the night. It's not as if it's a 4 a.m. and it's put people off, which it has been in the past. So that's bizarre because yeah, I feel like it's almost too late for us here in Sydney on the Saturday night because the main card doesn't start till 9. So you'd think JDM is not walking out till midnight. So that's a big night at the pub, Dane. What's your plan of attack there?
Mate, well, unfortunately, it will be a working night for me. So I will have to be up at 4 a.m. Sunday morning. So I'm going to catch Yes, I'm going to catch as much. That's my life, Tommy, Fox Sports News. But I might have to just catch the replay in the morning. But the flip side is I'll probably get to do some stories on it when I come in first thing for work, which isn't going to feel like work, of course. And it's back in Perth for the first time since September. Obviously, between Sydney and Perth, they've taken a bulk of these UFC cards in recent years. The WA government's really loved having them over there. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I thought it was quite surprising when you've got Tai Tuivasa, Steve Erceg, Quillan Salkilld, some really big name Aussie fighters, or really the best of the best. Take away an Alexander Volkanovski and Rob Whittaker, and you basically got the cream of the crop when it comes to Australian fighters. But interesting point anyway. JDM, mate, obviously out of that last fight, you'd think wrestling would have to be his big thing, but we're talking about two strikers, right? I was going through their records before, and this really is, I'd imagine, probably going to end up being a stand-up battle. 18 wins, 12 knockouts for Jack, 23 wins, 18 knockouts for Prates in their MMA careers. So I would think this one stands on the feet, and we're in for a bit of a blockbuster fight. Is that what you're thinking as well?
Yeah, well, I hope so for the fans. That'd be pretty special. Carlos Prates, he's literally got Muay Thai tattooed across his chest, and I'll never forget that knee knockout where he just kneed. I've forgotten who it was. It was a couple of years ago, but straight to the liver, and it just folded that guy. And whenever I saw that, I was like, I'm a fan of this guy, and we've just seen him on a tear ever since. And yeah, if this is 5 rounds of these guys going at it striking, we're in for a real treat. And yeah, it's going to be fireworks.
You sent that fight to me earlier today as well as a bit of homework, and I believe it was the one back in 2024, Charles Radke, I believe, knee to the body. It was
Wow.
a knockout performance of the night by Prates. Coming off back-to-back wins, a knockout performance of the night against Leon Edwards, man, the former champion, and Jeff Neal, a spinning back elbow at the end of the first round. That's back-to-back performance of the nights, crazy knockouts. And then he did get tested against Ian Machado. Gary lost a decision, but take that one away. He hasn't lost since 2019. So he's right up there, coming off 2 back-to-back performances. What have you made of his rise? It's obviously exciting on his day. He's a character. We know he loves the darts, mate. I was at a Q&A with him before the Sydney card. He actually tipped off even back then that this was going to be something he was coming back for. I think that's why the UFC had him out back then. But he likes to smash the darts, loves his durries, and says he won't ever smoke. He won't ever quit smoking, even his fight camps. He'll smoke right until lead up. He'll smoke one in the post-match press conference. It's crazy. You don't see that anymore, right? But he marches to the beat of his own drum and doesn't really give a shit.
How can you not like the guy? Like, I feel like Aussies, we've kind of we've taken to him quite well. Whoever does his videos is very good. Like he does these own hype videos, and they're so tidy. And man, he's such an exciting fighter. How can you not like the guy? It's hard that he's going up against our boy Jack, and obviously you're going to go for Jack. But man, massive fan of Prates, and yeah, I can't wait for this fight. What about you, Dane? What do you reckon?
Blockbuster, mate. I'm thinking someone's going to sleep. Although when you say it in fights like this, you never quite know. I mean, 5 rounds, I'd be shocked to see them go. I mean, if JDM's smart, maybe he does try and take him to the ground, right, and impose his wrestling a little bit if he doesn't want to stand and bang. But I think we've seen in his UFC career, Jack's never been scared of a fight, never really taken a backward step. So, and you think in front of a Perth crowd, he's known for his hands. We know he's got the ground game as well, but he's shown that Bilal fight. But you'd have to think stand and bang, right? There's a knockout coming for JDM in front of his Perth crowd. Bring it on, baby. That's what we're going, right?
Those crisp hands just letting him loose, and his precision, his timing. I'm excited to see it on display. And I heard a little someone told me, Dane, if Prates wins, you're going to get the same Muay Thai tattooed across your chest.
Oh, is that right, mate? You're paying for that one,
Yeah.
are you?
I'll pay if you get it.
Yeah, sure, mate. We'll put that one in the comments. If you want to see that guy, let us know in the comments on the podcast on social media. I'm sure my girlfriend would be very appreciative of that one for you, Tommy. Mate, yeah.
Maybe
so I
a
think
temporary tattoo, like a henna one that you get in Bali. You just have it for like a month.
Okay, we
Yeah.
can do that. If the people want that, we can do that. I'll
A
agree.
spray
Muay Thai.
on.
Wait,
Yeah.
what are you getting? What are you losing here, man? I'm the one on the deep end here.
Well, you got to come up with it. I don't know.
All right, let me have a think. If there's any suggestions, let us know in the comments, guys. What your Tommy got tattooed? There we go. Bring it on. Mate, let's just rip through the rest of the card because it is pretty cool. It's an exciting card if you're an Aussie. And even if you're not an Aussie, I think that for a fight night that's in Perth, I think they've done a pretty good job. Beneil Dariush against Quillan Salkilld as the co-main event. And, mate, I'm super excited for this. I got to interview Salkilld last year before Sydney. He's a really cool guy. He's a little bit different as well. He won the UFC basically rookie breakout of the year for last year after announcing himself with 3 impressive wins, including a head kick knockout, one of the knockouts of the year last year against Nasrat Hasparast. And then you and I got to watch him in the flesh, Tommy. He took care of poor Jamie Malarkey. He stood no real chance, wrestled him, imposed him to the ground, and got him done with a neck crank 3 minutes into the first round in the performance of the night in Sydney. He really is one to watch, man. Because he sort of reminds me of Jack's rise. When Jack was making that rise, he sort of come out similar way, was getting some real big stunning knockouts, announced himself pretty quickly and just kept rising and rising and rising. This is obviously the biggest test of Salkild's career. Dariush is a killer, but I'm super excited for this fight. What have you made of Salkilld?
I like him. He's got swagger. He's got the skill. He's an Aussie. He's a bit of a character. Is he from Perth?
I believe he's also from Perth, so another Perth product.
Wow.
There is something in the water over there, mate. But
so he's in front of his home crowd, and I like him, man. I think he's awesome, and I'm excited to see him perform. Dariush is coming off that loss to Benoit Saint Denis, so
16
I guess
seconds.
Yeah, he's looking to bounce back. He's coming to enemy territory, and but man, I can see Salkilld getting this done and just owning it in front of his hometown. And let's hope he just keeps rising, because he's exciting, man. He's such a good prospect coming out of Australia, and it's early days for him, but he's got a big name, and I think he's going to get it done.
Yeah, he's a big boy, 11-1 now, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions, 3 decisions. So he's pretty well rounded. I mean, his last 3 fights, it goes submission, knockout, decision. You know, so he could do a bit of it all. He only lost in his MMA debut back in 2021, and then since then he has now won 11 in a row, including his first 4 in the UFC and a win in the Dana White Contender Series as well. Then getting the job done in Perth locally for Eternal before that. So this is the biggest step up test of his career. But if he gets it done, he's right in that conversation for some really big fights, some big pay-per-view main cards. You'd imagine if he gets this one done. Now Dariush has been on an interesting tear. He's now lost 3 of his last 4. But if you look into it a bit further, I mean, you're talking about Arman Sarukian and Charles Oliveira. So yeah, look, take that with what you will. He beat Renato Moicano back in June in a decision, but he has lost 3 of his last 4 to knockouts, but against some pretty hefty opposition, and obviously Saint Denis has been a bit of a killer as well. Before that, he was in a tear, 22-4-1. What have you made of him? Like you said, 16 seconds. That is going to be in the back of your mind. No one wants to get knocked out that quick, and coming up against a young prospect in his home state, it's not going to be easy.
It's kind of like the old boy versus the new boy, and it's exciting, man. And 16 seconds. You're gonna want to make up for that, and he's flying all the way out here, flying all the way to Perth. It's going to be interesting. I feel like Salkild's. I looked up on Sportsbet, and the bookies are backing Salkilld for sure. He's paying like $1.20, and Dariush was like more than $3. So there's an indication of what they're thinking. So everyone's backing the young gun, and hopefully he can get it done in front of his home crowd.
Yeah, pretty crazy with Dariush, man. He's actually been fighting in the UFC. I didn't even realize this since 2014. It does
Wow.
not feel like, he's been around that long. He started his first ever pay-per-view card was UFC 179 back in 2014. So that was pretty crazy. That was Aldo Mendez too. So that's how long he's been around, man. A long time, still going around. He obviously started pretty young. He is now 36. So we'll see how he goes. I didn't realize that Salkilld was that big of a favorite, but big step up, mate. You got a pick in this one. How do you think it's going to go down?
I'm going to go broke here, and I'm going to go Salkilld head kick knockout.
Boom.
And the crowd goes wild.
I like it, mate. I like it. I think
You like it?
he could get a sneaky submission too, but I don't mind the way you're thinking there, mate. I reckon that's a pretty good shout. I think a finish by Quillan. I'd be keen to see that for him. Then we've of course got Steve Erceg, another guy who was in the title picture not that long ago against Tim Elliott. Now, Erceg, he was a round away from becoming the UFC flyweight champion against Pantoja. That was back in 2024. Little did we know he'd then get knocked out by Kai Kara France and then a lost decision to Brandon Moreno. He did bounce back in August in his bantamweight debut, so that will be interesting. This is back at flyweight, though, against Tim Elliott, who is just strung together back-to-back submission wins, 2 performances of the night. So the last one against Kai Asakura, a submission guillotine back in August. Erceg, you'd think, needs to try and get back in that title picture. He needs to start getting some finishes again, right? Because he's been on a bit of a skid since. How do you think this is going to go down for him?
Yeah, I hope he can get it done in front of his home crowd. I feel like Erceg's a bit of a quiet achiever. He kind of just came out of nowhere and then he was fighting for a title and you're like, hang on, who is this guy? And I hope he gets it done, man. I don't know a whole lot about Tim Elliott, but yeah, what do you reckon, Dane?
Yeah, he's 21, 13, and 1. So not the most impressive record, really, for Elliott. He does have 8 submissions in his career, 10 decisions, only 3 knockouts. So we obviously know Erceg's got some power in those hands as well. He's also, in his 13 losses, he's only been knocked out once, 6 submission losses and 6 decisions. He at one point had lost 3 in a row in the UFC, turned it around. So a bit of a journeyman, gatekeeper type of guy who's been up and down in the division. And he did fight Mighty Mouse for the flyweight champion back in 2016. So he has been around for a while. And Erceg, I'm just not sure at the moment with him. You'd think he'd be grinding to get back into that title picture, but he needs a statement. He needs a statement. So I'm hoping he can get it done. I'm going to go this one by decision, mate. What do you reckon?
Yeah. I'll back that. I'll go with you, Dan. I reckon. I feel like didn't Erceg give Pantoja like a real good go? Like it was like a 5-round. It was like the hardest Pantoja's been tested in a while.
Mate, basically, if he had won the 5th round, I'm pretty sure he's the new champion. And from memory, I think he was getting taken down. Or he was trying to go for takedown. He didn't really game plan the 5th round correctly, and basically lost that fight when it was there for him to win. I think he just had to snatch that 5th, and he was going to become the flyweight champion. So that's how close he came. And then obviously the 3 losses just turned everything around.
There you go, boys and girls.
So, mate, yeah, Erceg decision. That's going to be my pick. This is the next one. Interesting. It's a featherweight fight on the main card. Marwan Rahiki against Ollie Schmid. Now, neither of these people have Wikipedias. You'll all know if you listen to the podcast. That is my pet peeve. Ollie Schmid, the Hungarian stallion who has a New Zealand flag on his Tapology record. He is fighting out of New Zealand, born in New Zealand, but called the Hungarian Stallion. And I guess that's a reference to his salami. Tom, would you have to reckon?
I have no idea. I like Rahiki because I just like saying his name, so I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, right. Well,
I just want to scream that at the pub.
Well, I like the Hungarian Stallion. I thought you'd be a taste of that as well, mate. But he is coming off. He is 4-2 in his professional MMA record, so pretty swift rise. But in his 4 wins, he's had 2 first-round spinning back fist knockouts. So there you go.
There you go. That's pretty loose. I've got my bit of homework here, Dane, and Rahiki's on 8-0. So you never bet against a man who's never lost.
That is true. I mean, I don't know what my saying is when it comes to 2 spinning back fists in the first round. He is coming off a 15-second round 1 spinning back fist. But you just mentioned
it's just going to come in doing circles, hey, just swinging that fist.
You're right. I'm looking at the record now. Now, he was supposed to fight Jack Jenkins. I believe that was the original card. He's another guy who came in with a lot of hype behind him, but he did have to pull out due to an injury. So Jenkins was a late scratching for this one, which is a shame because he was another Aussie who a lot of people have pretty high tabs on. I know we've been fans of him as well. We've talked about him as well in the past. But this guy gets the call up and could be exciting, mate, just based on those records, right? I'm keen to see this one now that I've had a bit deeper look into it.
I'm super bummed that Jack Jenkins had to pull out. He's had a bit of a rough trot with injuries. He's such a good fighter. I'm a massive fan. He's just, what did he break, like 7 guys' legs in a row with leg kicks? Like, that's
crazy.
just insane. I want to see that man do well, and I want him to be injury-free and get some good fights under his belt. I feel like he fights out of Melbourne, and he's an awesome fighter to watch. So I hope he bounces back and gets his chance later on in the year.
Hopefully, mate. And it looks like there will be fireworks in that one. Then we have back-to-back heavyweight cards to kick off the main card. Now, Shamil Gazviev versus Brando Pericic. The Balkan Bear, 6-1. He is fighting out of South Australia. So there you go. One to watch. I don't know too much about him. I
had a look on his Instagram. I think he's fighting out of City Kickboxing over in Auckland. So
there you go.
With a good team.
And up against Shamil Gaziev is the Russian, 14-2, coming off against getting knocked out by Waldo Cortez Acosta in the first round back in November. But before that was coming off back-to-back wins, including a knockout in the first round back in February last year against Thomas Peterson. So the big boys, Tommy, heading into it. But let's get to your boy, mate. You've been a big defender of him on this podcast, so let's get into it. The main card will be kicked off by Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa against Louis Sutherland. Now, we've spoken about Tai. We don't necessarily agree, but he's on a 6-fight losing streak. But our boy Tommy, he doesn't care about that. He wants the shoey. He wants Big Bam Bam in the octagon. Tell us about your boy.
I do. Nothing better than Bam Bam getting a win in front of a Aussie crowd, jumping that fence and doing a shoey and the crowd going wild. If that's the case, Dane, he is back. 6 losses in a row. Who cares? We fight to live it. What is it? Live to fight another day. One of those quotes. And yeah, Tai Tuivasa's my boy. I love him, and let's hope he gets a big knockout and a big statement. This guy is versing Louis Sutherland. Wasn't it a late minute change because his original opponent got injured?
Correct. So this is
had
only
to
on a
pull
few
out?
days' notice. So he is coming in here, I would imagine, pretty underdone against Tai, but that's probably the exact type of thing that he needs. Last
Maybe
minute.
their cardio will be on a similar level then. If this guy's like fresh off the couch, that could be good for Tai because he's
Well,
only got a round or two in him, really.
Well, mate, I'm looking at a photo on Tapology right now of Louis Sutherland, the vanilla gorilla, and he does look like a vanilla gorilla. I gotta say, he looks pretty jacked in this photo that I'm looking at right
Oh,
now,
God.
mate. He's 10-5, but he's coming off back-to-back losses, including the guy we just talked about, Pericic. He actually got knocked out by him in round 1, so back-to-back losses for him, but standing up. He only fought back and knocked out in March. I guess it's a lucky thing it only went for 1 minute and 50 seconds, but obviously they needed a last-minute opponent to save Tai Tuivasa's neck and to get him still on the card, and here he is. So 10-4.
I'm glad they got it done.
Yeah, 10-4, I
Yeah.
believe his record is. But yeah, like I said, back-to-back losses. Had won 4 in a row before that. But yeah, the vanilla gorilla. Bring it on, man, against Bam Bam to kick off the main card, Tommy. It will be an exciting one. You're backing your boy to finally snap a 6-fight losing streak.
Definitely. I'm sensing a Derek Lewis elbow.
I hope so. I mean, I hope so. But
I'd
we all
love
love
that.
Bam. And I don't
What do
back
you
him as
reckon,
much.
Dane?
Yeah, I don't back him as much as you have, mate, but I do want to see him bounce back and get him fight because he's one of the big personalities, one of the most popular Aussie fighters we've ever had. He almost got into that heavyweight title picture back in the day on a crazy run that he went on, but yeah, I do hope he can do it. Look, even that Sydney card we watched him in most recently, it was still exciting. I mean, they were gassed as all hell. That one was against Taliesin Teixeira, and there was maybe not the most athletic prowess. You're not going to show it to the aliens when you're showing them this is what UFC is. But in the crowd, watching Bam Bam, it was exciting, wasn't it? And he still gave us
He
a
did.
show.
He was your favourite walkout song of the night, Dane. Your hips were swiveling. You were that into it.
Olivia Dean, baby, bring it on. Big fan of hers.
Yeah,
Olivia,
it's a
if you're
great
listening.
song. Yeah. It went off.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, mate. Kicking off the main card. Hopefully, Bam Bam can get it done. And then the prelims, Tommy, obviously littered with Aussies. Junior Tafa's back, as is Jacob Malkoon. They got Cameron Roston, Colby Thickness as well, all fighting on the undercard. And also Themba Gorimbo, famously given a house by The Rock. Which is why I've always remembered his career. Back in the day, it was a viral video from a few years ago, Themba. He's a Zimbabwean, and he's now lost back-to-back fights, unfortunately. So I hope that Themba can pull it out. He was 14-4 before that, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyone in particular on the prelims, Tommy, you're really looking forward to seeing?
Cam Ralston will be cool, and I feel like Colby Thickness, he's Volk's boy, trains out of down there in Wollongong, and I think he's one to watch. It could be cool, and hopefully he gets a win. And I reckon would Volk be there watching? He might be in his corner or something. It could be a bit of might make the trip over to Perth.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's there to support the Aussie fighters. Volk likes to get out and about, and I dare say that he'll be in attendance. It'll be interesting to see, though. Obviously, it is going to be prime time for us Saturday night, so it will be exciting. Tommy's going to be at the pub 10 pints deep. I'll be getting in bed early for work, so it'll be very interesting to see. Segment we have here on the show, good or bad for fans, Tommy. We brought it in for the footy content. We're bringing it in for the UFC content. I basically just want to go through a statement. I want you to tell me whether you think it's good or bad for fans. Let's start with all the commotion at the moment is Paul launching MVP MMA. Now, this is obviously connected with Netflix, and we've seen Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano headlining the event. Now, they're talking this up. Paul said it's very, very needed in the sport. It's been a monopoly for so long, run by the UFC, and the fighters haven't had another place to go. They need exposure and pay. So we're providing that with some of the biggest names and the biggest streaming platforms. So it's a really monumental shift. And I found this part the most interesting. He said, hopefully UFC fighters can start to follow the path of Francis Ngannou, where he fought his way out of his contract and went on to do multiple boxing matches for $20, $30, $40 million. Now he's fighting for MVP MMA, making more than the whole UFC roster combined. So obviously, Jake Paul there doing a bit of a smackdown on Dana White. They've had their run-ins, but this new promotion, potential competitor for the UFC, backed by Netflix, is that good or bad for fans?
Oof, I've got a bit of a long-winded answer to this question, I reckon.
Hit me with it, baby.
So I feel like the UFC, the last, few cards and stuff, it's kind of, they're not as amazing as they have been in the past. And I feel like they're kind of churning them through. There's more as part of the Paramount deal. Anyway, that's a long story. But I think in short, I think it is good because it's more MMA for fans. It's good for its different platforms. It's on Netflix. Most people have Netflix at home. They can just watch it. It's not necessarily pay-per-view. It's good for the fighters, as in they can go and earn more money and there's other options rather than just the UFC. But I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on it. What do you reckon, Dane?
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's what this all is going to come down to. I mean, we've all heard about fighter pay for so long and how fighters, get wrecked. I mean, Sean Strickland doesn't want to come to Australia because he's already worried about how much he's getting paid, and then they get taxed even more when they fight over here, things like that. But just as a whole picture, I mean, you see those official payouts sometimes that are like $10,000, $15,000 for your undercard fighters, and they might only fight 3 times a year. The UFC's taken away a lot of the opportunity to be promoted or make sponsorship because of the Reebok deal, and they all have to wear these uniforms and that type of thing. I'm going to get into that in a sec as well. So competition is normally a good thing. We saw it back in the day with wrestling and WWE and WCW. Back in the day, there was even, some attempts at, like a Strike Force or something along the Bellator, but they haven't really been big money competitors to really compete with the UFC. This is the potential to be the first time ever that the UFC really is challenged by a big competitor. I mean, obviously, it came in when Pride was still happening back in the day, but they sort of ran side by side, running out of different countries. If this ends up being a big hit and they can snag a few legitimate top 10 fighters, then we're going to see a very different landscape. But at the end of the day, maybe it's not the best thing for fans, but it's got to be the best thing for fighters, because if they finally get paid what they're worth, you see boxing all the time, these guys that get paid $20, $30, $40 million for a fight, and the best UFC fighters aren't getting that. We think that John Jones turned down $20 million to come and fight back and fight Tom Aspinall or whatever you want to believe. But even our boy Volk, I would say, only gets like a couple million a fight, where, if he was a boxer, he'd probably be getting, and was the type of caliber champion he is, he'd probably get 20, 30 million, So from that regard, I think it's good. Is splintering off and not having the best fighters in the same promotion bad for fans? Yeah, 100%. But for fighters,
that's where I reckon. That was where I was coming from, because it's going to separate it all. And our baby, the UFC, is not going to be the top dog, and there's going to be all these random fights at random. Yeah, and I'm like, it's not under one umbrella, but it is good for the fighters because they're going to get more money.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And that is the best thing. But it is going to be devastating because, for so long, if you're an MMA fan, you know that the best fighters in the last, 20 years now, whatever it's been, fighting the UFC. That's just the way it is. And not saying that Netflix and that are going to be a big competitor yet, because they're having a card with a lot of, has-beens as well, even though there's some favorite names that we all love. It's not like they're bringing in really top 10 championship caliber guys. I mean, arguably there is still a couple on the card, but for the most part, it's a bit of a gimmicky first event, right? It depends in another 6-12 months' time how successful it is. If they start bringing in some real guys, some UFC guys get a contract and they're legitimate about getting top 5 ranked guys or whatever, That's going to be interesting. Watch this.
I have a few friends that are like more excited for the MVP card more so than the White House card.
Yeah, and that's sort of where I'm going to go with the next part. So it is interesting
Sorry,
because
Dane, can I interrupt? You just answered that about 500 times better than I did, and that's why this is your job, and I'm behind the camera. That was
No, I
way
still
more
liked it, mate.
succinct and way better. Yeah.
No, we bounced off each other. What are you talking about, mate? You primed me up. But that does lead me into my next good or bad for fans, mate, because Ronda Rousey is getting very vocal as the fight is building up in the next couple months. She said about my question's going to be, is Ronda Rousey the new Dana White? But I'm just going to listen to what she said because I found it very interesting as well. She says, the UFC, I think, has forgot that the fighters are the stars and that the characters are what people tune in to see. They forgot when they started giving fight cards numbers instead of names and when they started putting everybody in the exact same uniform. I feel like there's a huge opportunity to show what people miss in MMA and creating premier fights that feature characters that people love. I think this is just the beginning. If it's the huge success that I expect it will be, hopefully there's a partnership there in the future with me and MVP. Ronda Rousey with some truth. The new Dana White, good or bad for fans?
Oh, I don't know. You put me on the spot here. I think there's only one Dana White.
Yeah, no, I agree. But what did you have? What do you think about what she actually had to say? Because I think she makes some
I
good
agree with her.
points. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with her. I think she has some very valid points, yeah, she's right. But I just feel like, yeah, there's only ever one Dana White, and who knows? Wouldn't you think Jake would be the head promoter and the face of all that, or is Ronda
yeah.
Rousey putting her name forward? Or
Well, I guess that's sort of what she meant because I don't
mm,
think she means
mm,
fighting. So I think the consensus maybe of what some people were thinking reading into that was that she wanted to do some sort of behind the scenes, leadership type role. I mean, Paul's obviously still got his boxing career and his hands in a million pies as well. You would
mm.
need someone with an MMA mind, fighting mind to get involved. I don't know what Rhonda's been doing these days. She's in parenthood and family and that type of thing. Maybe she's ready to get back in there, mate. We'll see. Maybe she'll
Imagine,
get knocked out and forget about it.
imagine, because they were geeing up a fight between Eddie Hearn and Dana White. Imagine now you throw Ronda in the mix; she'd probably kill both of them at once. So there you go.
Well, I'm just going to give you my next good or bad for fans then. Dana White v. Eddie Hearn. Is that good or bad for fans? Because we've seen that drama build up over the last couple months. Obviously, Zuffa Boxing's come into it. Do you like that? Do you like that little back and forth between them? It's pretty childish, but also it gets
I
headlines,
love
right?
it.
Good or bad for fans?
It's good. It's good. It's healthy competition. I love the banter. I feel like they both speak the truth, speak their mind, and I enjoy the banter. And yeah, I think it's good. It's healthy competition, and they're both kind of having a little crack at each other. It's entertaining. What do you
I
reckon,
love
Dane?
it. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I've seen some little videos floating around, just very childhood bully, backyard, schoolyard stuff. But Dana's never really backed down from a fight either, and Eddie Hearn's given him a few slaps too. So bring it on, mate. I love the drama. And Tommy, I love Aussie fighters. So I can't wait for this weekend in Perth. Bring it on. Shotgun trip for you, mate. Still tickets available, so go check it out. You
Oof.
can probably, yeah, I'm sure you can get the private jet with your Muay Thai gym, right? The way you're traveling, mate, is just up and up and up for you, I'm sure.
We've actually got a little Thailand trip next week, so one more last little get some training in before I have a kid.
There you go, mate.
Yeah,
Stopping in Perth, why not? And Tommy, I just
true.
would like to thank our sponsor as well before we go, National Freight Management. They can handle everything from crates to pallets nationwide. All the information is up on our website. You can find more at nationalfreightmanagement.com.au. Tommy, thank you very much. It's going to be a big few weeks for the UFC, obviously starting with this Perth card and then into UFC 328, Khamzat Chimaev against Sean Strickland. That's going to be an exciting one too. So I think we'll have to be back and do it all again next week.
Love that, man. I love it. We can do a little wrap up of the fights this weekend and lead into that one. I'm excited. That's awesome.
Can't wait. Tune in next week, guys. Thanks for your support. Give us a follow and like YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Really big help. And leave us a comment for Tommy's tattoo. Don't forget as well. Would love to hear any of your suggestions. All right, guys. Thank you. As always, take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.